All right, hey, we have some big news from over the weekend in the last couple of days, including today. We have the Chinese Party Congress, we have the Great Britain choosing a new prime minister, and we have the chip rules from Biden. Each one of these stories is actually moving the markets. So let's start with the Party Congress. There was actually some drama with Hu Jintao, who was seated next to Xi Jinping during the Party Congress, and he was forced out of the Party Congress, which must have been humiliating. In fact, let's just watch a very short clip, just a few seconds here, of that event. So here you have in the middle, we have Xi Jinping, and next to him, Hu Jintao, the former president of China. And he doesn't look, he looks confused, but I don't think he's confused because he's like ill or sick. He's like, what's going on? And you can see Xi's sitting there, kind of, trying to hold back his grin. I think, this has got to be humiliating for Hu Jintao, and so yeah, he was ejected from the Party Congress. But why is this moving the markets? And the answer is, in China, there's the Standing Committee, which is the body around the president, dictator, if you will, that makes all of the country's decisions. And before, they had people who had interests, right? Like this person is the expert on the economy. This is the person who's the expert on banking, so on and so forth. And they were, from previous administrations, from previous presidents, and they had their own mind, right? They would talk back potentially and not necessarily be on the same page with Xi Jinping on every single issue. And what we've seen is that he packed his new standing committee with loyalists who will march in lockstep with him. And so that's driving markets because we're afraid that the rules that were put in place, last year around the tech companies that knocked them down, and the rules that were put in place for the property markets that have crippled the real estate market in China, and rule after rule that have devastated the Chinese economy, the zero COVID lockdowns, things of that nature. The idea is, with these loyalists, we're going to see more of that, not less. So let's take a look at how this has affected the markets. So BABA has dropped significantly overnight. If we get out our ruler, we will see that overnight we have had a drop. Try that again. Had a drop of, at one point during the day, 18.5%, but it did rally back to be down about 11 by the end of the day. So again, the worry about those loyalists are really hurting the Chinese stocks. JD also dropped significantly, along with NEO. Now, unlike the Chinese markets, the S&P 500 has rallied today and is about to have the 9 and 21 day moving averages cross, which is a good bullish signal. We do have some support and resistance levels to look at here. So previously we had kind of the 429 area as previous support, as we can see, which did turn it later into resistance. That's also a bounce off of the 200-day moving average. Likewise, we do have some support here around 390, 391, 392, somewhere in this range. And we see confirmation of that support here. So what I'm expecting is this move up to about 391, 392 over the next days and weeks. So we might even bump our head into the 200-day moving average again. But then I'm expecting us to turn back down south. And in Europe, we have a new Prime Minister of Britain, and he is richer than the royals. So Rishi Sunak's wealth is rumored to be more than King Charles, and he's been slated to be the new prime minister. So this is affecting the pound, which is by extension affecting the dollar. And let's dive into that. Part of the move in the S&P 500 is actually part of the British pound. The British pound is stabilizing, and that is due to the new prime minister. The pound stabilizing has caused the dollar to stop its run up, right? It's coming back down. And so when the dollar comes down that sharply, that quick, that tends to help markets out. And so we are seeing that help the help the S&P 500 right here. Now let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla has dropped a lot over the last couple weeks here. In fact, let's do a quick measurement here. So at one point it was down 36%, so that is significant. But we do see the Williams crash detector bars are turned on. I do see the MACD crossing green here. And these are looking like a bottoming pattern to me. So, I think one could open up a short put spread in this range or go long. And at least for the next week or so, I think we're going to turn around, maybe bounce off the 21-day moving average, play in this area a bit before we potentially continue lower along with the market. And then there's the chips ban. So the Biden administration is cracking down on chip technology sharing with China. And so China's YMTC, one of the largest semiconductor companies in China, asks its core US staff to leave due to chip export controls. So 4 people close to the company said it was unclear how many US citizens and green card holders would be forced to leave YMTC, but that several in China had already left the memory chip producer. And just to be clear, basically what the rule says is US citizens will lose their passports and green card holders will lose their passports. So they get to choose to either be US citizens or to work for the company. Either lose your passport or your job. And senior YMTC engineers are saying that some of the Americans were key to the company's breakthroughs in NAND memory chip production, but there's no way to have them around. It's just against the rules now. So, in fact, the chief executive, Simon Wang, is a U.S. passport holder, and he stepped down from his post just ahead of his sanctions announcement. I'm assuming someone tipped him off. So, yeah, this is big news for the memory and chip producers, and all of the infrastructure that goes into that, all of the chip manufacturing equipment, and all the companies that go into making chips. So let's take a look at some of those right now. As you can see with the chip names, LRCX, Lam Research, it's been heading south most of the year, and these new rules from Biden, they're not helping. That being said, these chips will be made somewhere in the world, so these companies aren't going away. They just might have to have a couple hiccups before they land on firm footing. But do remember, a couple months ago, the U.S. Congress did pass a $40 billion bill to help fund manufacturing of chips in America. So these companies are going to benefit from this in the long run. But like I said, it's going to be a little bumpy here until they land on the firm footing.